Correction, I meant anti-choice/pro-forced birth. Edit, I personally am not someone who would get an abortion. Someday I would love to have babies of my own. But for other women, I will not judge them for what they do with their bodies. I will not tell them what they should do with their lives. What they decide is their choice, and all these people who think they are God and whatever can't seem to get their heads out of their ass to realize what the new law just did for women out there. For people who are pro-birth/anti-abortion. As a woman, why are you doing this to other women? As a man, WTF are you even speaking on this? It was bad enough growing up and going to school with a last name like Faghetto. You can use your imagination to figure out what kind of jokes I received. Playing Little League sports, both teams would always scream "Go Faghetto go." Of course I was always referred to by the first 3 letters of my last name, Hey F_G. In school the teachers always tried to be so polite and not giggle when trying to pronounce my last name. I sort of got used to it after a while, but just hearing my last name was starting to sound like nails on a chalkboard. The first thing I did when I turned 18 was change my last name with the Social Security Administration. I decided to take on my mother's maiden name, which is of German descent. I figured there was absolutely nothing which could be seen as funny associated with this last name. Or at the least nothing like Faghetto. To this day I still legally use her last name. My father and his side of the family were furious. They told me that I was disgracing their heritage and tried to tell me about the long line of Faghetto men from generations ago. About how they fought in wars and whatnot. Those Faghetto men never grew up in 1990s America and went to middle school and then high school in the 2000s. I'd take any war over that. I was single when I had this night with 3 men earlier this year, and since then I met a fantastic guy that I love and we are already talking about moving together in October. He posted a story with 2 of these guys and the third one is also in his Instagram contacts, so I am just totally screwed now. If, or when, he will find out, he will simply leave me. He is a very smart, successful and straight in his boots guy, so he won't accept that. He always says I'm his little princess. He likes this vision of me. Shall I bring the topic first or shall I just wait for the Damocles sword to hit me? I am not sure how to feel. I would never personally choose abortion, and my own personal belief system makes me feel that abortion is wrong. However, I feel that overturning Roe vs. Wade will hurt so many women, takes away so many rights, and dehumanizes women in general. I'm afraid that it also threatens same-sex marriage and other LGBTQ rights. I joined the police because I desperately needed employment since my bachelor's was basically worthless. I also thought I would be doing a job where I could make a positive difference in people's lives. Where I could look back on a day's work and say I've helped people, where work didn't feel absolutely meaningless and like a waste of my life but rather as a contribution. Boy, was I naive. There have been times where I felt like I truly did help someone out, but those were by far outnumbered by the times where I felt we as police were just screwing people over even further instead of helping. I've worked as a beat cop for about 3 years before it all got too much for me. I've been in a really shitty family situation for years and it all culminated in 2021. The horrible shit I've seen at work combined with said family situation, got me burnt out badly. I've had to stay home for a year on doctor's orders and I honestly still don't feel like I'm over it completely. Now, when I say I've seen horrible shit, I don't mean gore or difficult situations. I can deal with that. What broke me was the absolutely toxic mentality and injustice done by the police. Orders that I couldn't comply with because they not only went against my own personal values, but are morally reprehensible altogether. I've seen children, 10 years old at most, put behind bars for being illegal immigrants. I've received and refused orders to take away a woman's 5-day-old baby because she smoked pot. I've seen a man completely break, all the light leaving his eyes, once he heard he was being deported back to Eritrea. Knowing full well he'll be tortured and probably killed as soon as he arrives. The man tried to kill himself on the way to the airplane, tried to hang himself by the seatbelt. I've been reprimanded for genuinely wanting to help the victim of severe and sadistic domestic abuse. Reason for the reprimand? They needed to question her with a translator under oath, which is way too much work and costs for some Albanian whore in a case that probably won't see court anyway. I've written a report about a kid we found, about 3 years old, whose mom had let him out to play in a park about 2 kilometers away. Alone. The kid was dressed in nothing but his undergarments, was filthy and stank of urine and detritus to all heavens. His home was a pigsty. Report didn't even come through, nothing was done about it. I've had a case where a mother went into psychosis, kidnapped her baby and threatened to drown herself with the baby. Her mom told us she would frequently stab her own arms with a fork and twist the baby's limbs to see how far she could go before the baby started to scream. When we finally found her, do you know what was suggested as a solution by my chief? Voluntary counseling with social services once a month. That's it. Nothing else. The general attitude towards domestic abuse is disgusting. It's rarely taken seriously by police. Honestly, the whole atmosphere was toxic. Lots of glorification of violence, dicks drawn on the walls and posters, lots of bullying at work, machismo attitudes. Not to mention the racism, sexism and rampant, far-right views. In the few years I've been one of the boys in blue, I can't count the number of suicides among colleagues on my hands anymore. A lot of them are in it to cut as deep as possible, aka hurt people financially as badly as they can. Traffic cops have that the worst. Most of them cite that as their reason to join the traffic cops, since with traffic laws, the rule of innocent until proven guilty doesn't apply. It's actually the other way around. You are guilty of a traffic violation unless you can prove you weren't. And traffic violations are almost always solved with a fine, quickly racking up the sum. Which, in reality, doesn't solve jack shit. You're just fucking people over. I, along with some others, got spat out and bullied by the rest of the department for reporting a colleague for repeated excessive violence. I'm not talking to slap too many, which would be bad enough, I'm talking deliberately coercing people to fight him. I'm talking choking people out. I'm talking dragging a guy with bus knees across the pavement. I'm talking beating some guy while already in cuffs in the back of a van. But we're the bad guys for reporting it. Another thing I badly hate are the repugnantly hypocritical drug laws. If people want to toke up, let them toke the fuck up. But no. A superior officer once saw a guy smoking a joint at his own front door. A total of 6 patrols, totaling 12 officers including myself, were sent to deal with it. I was so fucking ashamed and embarrassed. Not to get too sidetracked, but I don't think drug use or addiction should be criminal at all. We shouldn't encourage it as a society and practice sensibilization or dissuasion. But again, it boils down to picking repression and fucking people over actually helping people. I could not take that shit anymore. While I still work the police, I now do so in a department that doesn't work in repression. It's boring as shit and I earn a lot less, but at least I don't feel like I have to sell my core morals and be a boogeyman on a good day or a monster on a bad one. Are all cops bastards? As people, no. There are still co-workers I regularly hang out with, keep in touch with and who feel the same way. But the job necessitates you being a bastard. And those who are seen as the best at this job, are oftentimes the biggest assholes in my eyes. I've worked with a lot of rookies. You can roughly split them into 2 groups, those who are already assholes and are in it so they can be their asshole self. And those who start, naive, with the intention to help people. That second group usually either turns asshole or quits soon after joining. I will say I still feel disgusted by the uniform I still have to wear. It feels like I'm wearing a costume, it's not me. I'm wearing the uniform of an organization I largely don't agree with. It tears me apart and honestly has a big mental toll on me. The person who I have to be is radically different from who I am. I don't feel like a cop, but still have to do police work. The sad reality is, I need the money. It also causes me to feel absolutely zero connection or responsibility towards my employer, only towards the customers I work for. Otherwise, I don't care. This turned into way longer of a rant than I intended, for which I apologize. I also fear it's a lot of whinging and complaining from poor me, poor cop. But it does feel good to get off my chest. It's the only freedom in the goddamn US that isn't being outlawed. I'm afraid for what would happen if I am raped. There'd be no recourse for me. The cops are useless, My reports went without any follow-up or investigation. Abortion is going to be outright banned in my state, and degenerates in this country that are becoming bolder by the day. I've had a few close calls. The only thing that kept me feeling even remotely okay was knowing that if there was a problem I wouldn't have to spend thousands for travel across the country or across the border to avoid having my life, my body, and my finances ruined. Just you wait, those laws in red states meant to protect homosexuals wanting any excuse to kill someone are going to be used a lot more by people who refuse to have their lives turned upside down by a rapist. We're sick of it. I don't want to walk down the street at night in a constant state of fear. I can't believe that I'm having to create an emergency plan, fund just in case I am raped and am unable to receive the health care I need. I'd never get pregnant otherwise as I am a lesbian. I'm tired of being touched in bars by men who think they can help themselves to any part of me they like. I'm a person, not an incubator, not a stupid sex doll, not an object there for your amusement. I am a person. I cannot believe I have to say that in 2022, better still I can't believe how many deaf ears it falls on. Isn't this supposed to be the greatest country on earth? If it is, then why do I feel that my safety is constantly threatened? Why do the people who make me feel this way get away with it every fucking time? I'm done. I'm so incredibly disappointed and angry. Words can't express my bemusement as I watch other developed nations whiz right past us in every aspect of national progress. This country is a runaway train that does absolutely everything except what we want and need. We're here stuck in the quicksand of extremism, science denialism, and poverty by design.